Social media giant Facebook and its Instagram and WhatsApp services have been hit by widespread outages. Facebook says it's aware some people are having trouble accessing the platforms, but hasn't said what's behind the problem. Well, let's speak to Ian Scher about this. He's the editor-at-large at the consumer tech site CNET, and he's joining us from Maryland in the U.S. Very good to have you with us. Tell us about what this all is about. I mean, Facebook says some users, but this looks like a global outage. How widespread is it? Well,
it's hard to tell. I will say that when we're talking about Facebook, more than half the world's online population is using it every month. So, you know, a few users can be a lot of users. But this is a significant look. These outages happen from time to time.
Right.
Sometimes they are the result of bad behavior, hacks or something. Other times it's someone who pushed the wrong button. And this time it seems like it may have been not a bad thing. It may have been someone pushed the wrong button or some computer is misconfigured, and that'll get fixed at some point.
But this has been going on for over an hour now, which is long.
Yeah.
No?
It is long. And look, these things tend to be unusual because Facebook in particular really prides itself on working really well. You know, over the last, I'd say 5-10 years, we've seen Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, all of them have been relatively stable. Before that, it was pretty normal for the internet to kind of go in and out and some websites not to work. You can look up the Twitter fail whale if you remember that period of internet history. So, you know, this stuff did happen, but it is unusual more so now. And so, yeah, having it out for an hour is definitely noteworthy. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that they are under really a lot of pressure from all over the place, right? Not just their critics and people like me in Silicon Valley, but also you've got the regulators in Washington, all over the world. And look, it's very clear that Facebook needs to really reckon with what they have done, both in terms of actually allowing bad behavior to continue happening on their platform and how they haven't been honest and forthright with you and me and everybody else about how bad the situation is. And that is a really big problem.
How bad is the situation?
I mean, it's very clear that harassment and the spread of disinformation, undermining democracy, all of these things have been happening on a wider scale than Facebook has told us about. We don't have access to any data that actually tells us. All we have are little slivers of information.
Right.
So it is a big, big problem. And the company has shown internally that they know that.
Right.
Over the past couple of years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been vocal about the impacts of social media. And in a recent Q&A with Fast Company, the Duke of Sussex revisited an essay he wrote for the publication in August, where he called on, quote, industry leaders from all areas to rethink how they fund the spread of misinformation online. Looking back at his essay and the even greater need to reform social media today, Prince Harry said, quote, when I wrote that piece, I was sharing my view that dominant online platforms have contributed and stoked the conditions for a crisis of hate, a crisis of health, and a crisis of truth. And I stand by that, along with millions of others who see and feel what this era has done at every level. We are losing loved ones to conspiracy theories, losing a sense of self because of the barrage of mistruths, and at the largest scale, losing our democracies.
Concerns are mounting about a social media reform bill now making its way through the Utah State Legislature.
Fox 13 tech reporter Jordan Hogan explains what it involves and the potential issues surrounding it.
Social media companies tend to moderate content to prevent misinformation and promote safety. But a Utah Republican senator says his bill will make content moderation fairer for all Utahns wanting to express their opinions on public forums.
State Senator Mike McKell is running the Electronic Free Speech Amendments bill. He hopes it will force social media companies to be more transparent with how they moderate content. But critics of the bill say it's unconstitutional and violates the First Amendment.
Sinan Aral is an MIT professor, tech entrepreneur, and director of the MIT Initiative on the Digital Economy. His new book, The Hype Machine, explores both the promise and the peril of social media.
The one thing we absolutely have to do if we're going to solve the social media crisis is we have to get past this debate about whether social media is good or evil? The answer is yes.
Good when it helps the Ice Bucket Challenge raise $250 million for ALS research. Evil when it foments hate speech and violence. Professor Herald says it does both through carefully crafted algorithms designed to keep you engaged, to reinforce your preferences and opinions with content tailored to you, an echo chamber of what you like and what advertisers and adversaries can target.